Hey, welcome to Gold's Garage, and this is a kind of a surprise video for us. First of all, I got to introduce my customer, Joe, and Gary. You've met him before on previous videos. Gary's small block 355 was the first engine I ever dynoed, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, whatever. And so I got Joe here this morning, and this is obviously a Pontiac engine, and so for Pontiac fans out there, you'd be interested in knowing what's going to happen next. This is a 455 bored out, so it's 462 or something like that. And Joe had this engine built by someone. I didn't build it. I'm going to though. So he recently had a bad experience with it, made a loud noise, and he's got water in the oil. Those are all bad symptoms. So I'm going to let Joe tell you all about his experience, and then obviously after the video we're taking off, get it on the stand, get it apart, and see what we can find inside of it. So go ahead, Joe, tell us what's going on here.
Well, long day, sad day, but yeah, doing a tranny swap. I was going from a 4-speed to a 200R4. Finally got the 200R4 put in. Took the car out of the garage, let it sit idle. Didn't overheat, didn't do anything, just backing it up. And all of a sudden you hear a big pop and it just died on me pretty well. The oil looks like a double-double from Tim Hortons coffee. Not good.
I guess that's all we know for now. We haven't taken it apart, we just kind of talked about it.
Yeah.
I think that's live. Okay, we're going to take a look and see what's going on inside of Joe's 455. One of the first places to look is to get the valve covers off. If you drop the valve or broke a valve spring or bent a push rod or whatever, and that can be the start of a lot of worse things can happen. That's where we start. So let's get the valve cover off and have a look. Everybody ready? The valves are all still there. That's one good thing. Anyways, on this side, don't have any rocker arms loose. We can go through the whole valve checking sequence, but if there's something really bad's happened, then you'll have, rocker arms loose. Let's take the other side off then. Just lucky that Joe's coming in today. I got my producer here. It's rare to have that opportunity, so this is reality, guys. Well, not seeing anything obvious there. Okay, we're back with Joe's 455 Pontiac engine. We did take the valve covers off, and just for evidence, so far all the valves are there anyway, but there's a whole bunch of water condensation on the push rods. So water's in the oil. I guess we already knew that. So I'm going to take some plugs out. Next thing to do is take the spark plugs out. And we have an endoscope camera. We're going to look inside of it and see what we can find. It's going to have to come apart, but everybody's anxious to find out what's going on. So We already loosened this plugs off. Basically, a spark plug is evidence as well. So lots of carbon on it, but I think this engine hasn't even been out of the driveway, Joe, is that correct?
Yeah, it basically idled for about 50
It's just been idling in the driveway, so it hasn't got any sort of track miles on it. So black spark plugs, not ideal, but if you're idling your engine a lot, and especially if you're playing around with the accelerator pump, it's not unusual to find that. So let's take another one out, keep going here till we find something. Oh, okay, so two things. This one's wet, so there's water in the oil. That's not just oil, looks like that's water as well. And look at that, something has hit the spark plug, and the ground on the spark plug, and it's jammed into the electrode. So there's something going on inside there. So let's take a look inside that one. We take our endoscope camera, and we got to know, right? So look inside with it. So we'll try to get the camera so you can see what's going on, Mike, with your camera. So stick it in there. Oh, look at those, that's a threaded. Well, now that I've got the camera in there, I can look in the hole and see myself. There's a bolt stuck in there, right in the cylinder. You can see it. You don't even need a camera for that. You can see. So what do we think's happened? Possibly a bolt's got fallen down through the intake manifold, and how it ever ran there half an hour without something happening. What compression ratio is this?
9.5 to 1.
So it's just flat top pistons? Yep. If it bounced around there enough and it didn't actually get into a place where it could do damage, but it is now. So there's, right at parallel to the crankshaft, there's looks like about a 5/16 bolt stuck to the top of the piston. So let's take the next step, and we'll turn the engine over and put the camera down again and see what's going on again. So I got to get a socket. Okay, so we just started taking spark plugs out on this side. Took these two out. That's 5 and 7, and this spark plug tells the tail. When we took it out, the electrode was jammed, and we tried to use the camera in there, but the camera couldn't focus because looks like a 5/16 bolt parallel to the crankshaft stuck there. And when we turn the engine over, it looks like it's stuck to the piston, but the piston doesn't go down. So, and you can see there's milk coming out of there. Well, that's just a mixture of water and oil, obviously, right? So that pretty much tells the tale. I'm not sure if we'll find anything else as we keep going. The other 3 cylinders on this side look okay so far. So let's see what happens next. Okay, so far we found milk in the oil, not good sign. We had the camera inside. We see there's a stud or something broke off, stuck to the top of the bottom of the head, actually, because when the piston goes down, it doesn't go down with it. So that's not a good sign. So we're going to take the head off. And so when you torque a head, you start in the middle and go out. When you untorque it, you start in the outside and come in. So we're just about done there. Almost there. It comes off by itself. That's not a good sign either. So. Got them all? Okay, let's get rid of this guy. I don't know if it's going to come off that easy or not. Let's try it and see. No bolts, eh? Make sure they got no bolts. There it goes. I got it. It's okay. Just gonna change hands. That's okay. Was the bolt? Is it?
That looks like the stud for the breather on the car.
Yeah, center stud, quarter inch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you got that, Mike? Let's look at the piston. So we got water getting in the oil somehow. Oh, the piston's obviously, it's cocked in the cylinder, so it's broken into the cylinder. So what happens, the piston's trying to come up, there's not room for it. It actually can push the piston through the side of the block. I'm guessing that's what happened. We haven't got the piston out yet, but as you can see, the dome of this piston is sticking up way above the deck, whereas the other ones don't. It should be flush with the deck, obviously, right? So the piston is cocked in the bore somehow, and that's why it's not even easy to turn it now. I'm not sure if we can turn it. We're just going to try it again. Hang on. When I rotate this engine, the piston doesn't move with it, so that's pretty much tells us what's going on here. The piston is disconnected from the crankshaft. Probably the rod's broken or the bottom of the piston's broken. So, and when we come up to the top, it's going to get hard to turn because whatever is left there is pushing on the piston. So this is a classic Autopsy, and I did not build this engine. Let's get that on tape before. Okay, but I'm going to fix it for Joe. So we got lots more work to do. We got to get it apart and see what else we need. We might get away with a piston and a rod. Pretty good chance the block's broken. We got water in the oil. There's no other way for it to get in there. So the head's not broken. Maybe just look at the head, Mike, fast. Doesn't look like the head is broken. Later. Doesn't look like the head is broken. There's probably damage. That looks like a carburetor stud got past the intake valve somehow, so the valve will be damaged, the seat will be damaged. The head might be scrapped depending how bad it's damaged, how it got through there. So pretty much identified the problem. Lots of work to do. So we're in the last stage of the autopsy for Joe's 455 Pontiac. And you don't have to be a high-level scientist to figure out what's going on here, because right now when I tried to rotate the engine, the piston turned sideways. The top of the piston is broke right off the rest of the piston. So when I turn it, it's actually turning sideways there right now. You're seeing in real life this thing coming out. It's just, is it connected to the pin? It must be, yeah. It's still connected to the, I've never seen that before. The wristband is still in the bottom of the piston. The bottom of the skirt's broken off. It's down in the pan somewhere, right? And so the real issue is, so pistons are not that hard to come by. Blocks are. So if we go down the block, you know, look at this, Mike. We can see where the block's broken, eh? Can I get that piston out by? Let me just try something here. Hang on. Joe, Mike. Never seen this before, guys. But there we are. There's your piston. You can see the rod, and you can see the block's broken there, right there. In a couple of places, actually. And that's how the water got into the oil, and that's the end of that story. We need to look. We need to find the block. So, okay, look at the pistons broke right, came right in two when I took it out. Oh, that's the wrong one. Okay, let's talk about it. So, what did we learn from this series, this video? Customer Joe just left in my hands because we got it apart to find out what happened is the carburetor stud and the top of the carburetor that holds the air breather on fell into the engines. And when it did, he still had it in his driveway. He never actually drove his car in the street. He was backing it in and out. He did a transmission change. He was backing it out and it popped. And right off the bat, we saw water in the oil, so we knew it was pretty serious. Took this spark plug out, found the spark plug was bent, so something hit that. Got the head off, and the top of the piston is actually broken off. There's the top of the piston. So one of the points of all this is so many little things can go wrong. And if you're going to get into doing this kind of stuff, you have to be prepared for the realities of life and things that can happen that aren't perfect. It's easy to make videos just showing you the last bolt going in and firing her up, and it sounds great. But these things can happen. This has got nothing to do with gold scratch. The customer brought it to me to fix. I did not build this engine, and it's not the fault of the guy that did build it. There was nothing wrong with this engine before that. But something as simple, the 1/4-inch bolt that comes out of that holds the top of your carburetor, holds your air breather on. While he was idling, fell into the intake manifold, got sucked into past the intake valve, jammed the piston, and broke the block. So now Joe's gone. He's looking for a block. It's a 455. They're not something you go buy at Walmart, I can tell you that. It's not going to be easy to find. And when he gets one, we'll fix it. But for now, I'm just going to mock it back up together, and we'll leave it for another day when Joe gets some parts, and we'll make more videos when we fix it and get it back together. We'll probably be dynoing this engine, and whatever else we're going to do, we don't know yet. So thank you for watching Gold Scratch. Thank you for the 5,000 subscribers. Now we need 5,000 more. We're still a pretty small channel compared to most. And we're trying to bring you information and reality. We'll show you everything that happens, whether it's good or bad. And hopefully you'll learn more from that. Experience is expensive. You can gain by others' experience by watching my channel. Thanks for watching Gold Scratch.